year. Therefore, I'm a very happy stacker below the short-term cost basis, which is 92.
It's interesting to hear your kind of price targets change a little, because when we spoke on the previous What Bitcoin Did, and me, you and Pete all had a bet on the price, I think, did you say 150 then?
I said 250. I said 250 is the highest we would get to this year.
Okay, so I think I said then 280 probably, and Pete was way up at 350.
And then Pete was up in the space, yeah.
So it's gone from 250 to kind of 150, and now you're talking about 120 to 150. So what's bringing that level down?
No, so nothing's bringing that level down. Where were we when we did that podcast?
I think it would have been in the chop solidation phase. So it would have been, let's say, 50 to 60.
No, that would have been like, I think we would have made that podcast with Pete like 30K or something.
Oh, really? Okay, I can look.
Yeah, no, that was a long time ago. It would have been early 2024, I think. That's my gut feel. I don't think we were in the chop solidation range.
This was 7 months ago.
Yeah, okay. No, I stand corrected. So yeah, look, for 250, right? 250 is where I think, like, if you go full moon mission, that's where it could happen. And to be fair, I actually probably hadn't done a lot of the work thinking about ceilings at that point in time. And to frame up the 120, 150, 120 is like the lower, I call it like a topping cloud. That's the zone where the average guy is in enough profit that they're probably going to start taking it. All of this depends on demand. And this is another framework or a principle that I use in bulls and bears. In bear markets, we have a pretty good idea of the demand profile. We know that hodlers come in and we know how much pain they can take. We've seen them hold coins that go down 80% and not sell. So we've got a pretty good read on the demand. What we don't know is what the supply looks like. Who is going to capitulate and sell? Are we going to have a 3 arrows blow up? Is there going to be an FTX? Is there going to, like, who knows who's going to blow up? In bull markets, it's the opposite. We have a pretty good idea of supply. We can see when old hands sell. We can see realized profit, which is very, very reliable. They start selling when we get to the previous cycle all-time high and on every sequential rally. What we don't know is who's going to hit the big green button and when and in what size. So we don't know about demand. So the reason these targets by definition have to change is because the demand profile is completely unknown, right? So we have to wait and see how this demand profile builds in. And I have a report that I call Moving Target, which tries to explain how these models come to be. The more coins that get sold at a high level, the more demand you've got coming in at that level, the higher the average cost basis, the more people have confidence that we belong up here. And therefore, you can start to lift price targets. Are we going to get there? It's not a prediction. Who knows? But if we get to 120, I expect people to be selling quite a substantial chunk. If we get to 150, just about everyone's going to look at their portfolio and say, God, that's a big number. And then you got to think about, like, are they selling? And then you compare it to your selling metrics. It's like, yes, now I've got a cohesive picture. The incentive is strong. They're actually selling. Demand keeps going, but we've now got 4% odds. You know, you start to think in probabilities.
Yeah, that makes sense. Although I would bet a hell of a lot that we go a decent bit higher than 120. That would feel like the most disappointing bull market of all time.
Your expectations, mate. You've got to get your expectations in line. And this is the thing, right? If we did, we absolutely could. We could just zip right through to 300. If we were to zip through to 300, I can expect the bear market will probably be much nastier than people want. So the more that we have this like slow grinding price higher, the more stable it is, the more confidence you build over time, and actually the higher that the market can go because that demand continues to come in at different plateaus.
So over the last few days, I've been getting quite a few messages from people panicking. I'm sure your phone has been absolutely blowing up. What is your message to the people that are panicking right now?
Chill out. I mean, just stay humble, stack sats. At the end of the day, right, I think the thing that's helped me personally a lot, let go of pretending you can predict the future. The moment you let go of that, the better off you are. Once you let go of predicting the future, you can then say, well, where do I think the market might go? And just have a plan for both of those scenarios. And quite often, and I think that's the other thing, everybody's different. You know, a lot of my subscribers are retirees, professional traders, hodlers, but primarily hodlers, as like 96% of the audience self-identifies as a hodler, so do I. They've all got different goals. Some people are still in accumulation mode. Some people, you know, and for each of those different folks, whoever you are, your top, what is the top? Which one matters to you? Because if you're a retiree, it's the one that's going to give you a nice runway for the next 3 years of your life where you're not going to be stressed about money. That's the top that matters for you. If you're a leverage trader, it's the top that just happened. right? So it's all these different dynamics of who are you, where are you in your journey. For me, if we get to 150, I'm just not a buyer. I will allow the market to find its level. If it starts to look really good, now I start to become a buyer because I'm like, there's that confidence starting to come back in. I don't want to be the first guy running into the, out of the trenches. I want to see how the lay of the land is before that happens and then make a decision. When everything's overheated, it's just not, I've never had good success. And actually, you've got to work on this yourself. I finally got my retirement money to move across from my old account into the one that I could actually buy Bitcoin with. And I didn't listen to my own advice, right? I know I preach this shit all the time, but I looked at the chart, SOPA was high, MVRV was high, and I was like, yeah, but it's taken me 2 months. They finally got my money and I can finally buy it. What if it goes higher? I bought, bang, immediately down, right? So you've got to constantly work on this. For whatever reason, human beings, our like natural instincts are designed to lose in markets. I don't know why, it's just true. This is why the odds are like, 98% or 99% of traders walk home with empty pockets. Something about our brain just makes us want to lose money in markets. You got to fight it. It's like an active challenge to say, no, put that brain aside and you've just got to look at things more objectively and say, everyone's very excited. Irresponsibly long MSTR is booming. Funding rates are blowing out the roof. People are taking lots of profit. If you tell that story to yourself and you come to the conclusion it's a good idea to like go all in, I've never had good success doing this.
Yeah. I've actually not got a retirement account because I've always been self-employed since I've lived in Australia. But everyone in Australia should realize that you can do a self-managed super fund and self-custody Bitcoin in your retirement account. They'll turn it off at some point, so do it soon.
Have to.
So I want to change gears a little bit. Why have you